I want to take just an opportunity to talk to you today about this hour in our nation's history. As you know, we will be going to the polls on November the 8th, and even now in our state and many other states, early voting has begun. I want to take the opportunity to challenge you today to go to the polls and to vote your biblical convictions. Voting is not just a civic duty. I believe it is a spiritual responsibility. I believe it is an opportunity for you and I as Americans to be able to choose those who serve in governmental positions. Not every nation is given the privilege that we're given, but as Americans, our freedom has been purchased through the blood of others who have defended that freedom. And so today, I think it's very important that every one of us who know Jesus Christ as our personal Savior go to the polls and vote. You can vote early here in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, if you're not registered and you will be 18 by election day, you can go to the early voting site, register, and vote. I encourage you to do that if that's you. And as you go to vote, I want to encourage you to vote for the biblical stance. Biblical stance number one on life. We believe that life begins at conception, that a baby in its mother's womb is alive. Jeremiah the prophet said before the Lord ever formed him, he knew him and called him. We believe that life is precious. And I want you to know that as an American Christian citizen, I would never knowingly vote for someone who would choose to end life before life can be lived. I want to encourage you as you go to the polls to vote on this issue of life. Life from God. Secondly, I want to talk to you about the issue of liberty. You know, I'm thankful that I do have the freedom to stand in the pulpit that God has given me as the pastor of Beacon Baptist Church and to preach the Bible. But I want you to know that that may not always be so in our land. The wrong people get in the place of authority, they would seek to squelch the pulpits of our land. I'm thankful for that liberty I have, the liberty to worship God according to the Scriptures, the liberty to evangelize the lost, the liberty to speak of Jesus openly, the liberty to exalt the Lord in this land. And I want you to vote for the candidates that will secure that liberty. The last issue I would speak to you about today is law. Who is the establisher of law? God is. God established the home. We live in a land where the home, as God has established it, is under attack. Our Supreme Court has already ruled that people of the same sex can marry one another legally in all 50 states. That's not God's law. God's law is a man and a woman for a lifetime. A man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, male and female, coming together to form a family unit. I would never knowingly vote for someone who would not make that stance concerning God's law, God's life, God's liberty. And I want to encourage you today to be sure to vote. I know that we live in a day where we have some choices many of us are not pleased with. But I'm still going to vote for those who stand on those three issues, life, liberty, and law, according to how I understand it from the Scriptures. And let me encourage you not just to vote in the national election. I know that the presidential is what gets our attention every 4 years, but here in our state, we're voting for our governor, we're voting for our lieutenant governor, we're voting for the council of state, we're voting for the North Carolina Senate, the North Carolina House. Oh, we're electing as well one of our North Carolina senators to the United States Senate, and we're electing our U.S. congressmen and women. Let's vote for those men and women that will stand and have stood in our state. You know and I know we have been under a great attack in this state for these last few months. And I pray that you will go and vote for those who've been willing to stand where God stands. May I also encourage you to pray. We know that The whole issue is in the hands of God. We understand that He is sovereign and He is in control. Let's ask Him to give us mercy, to give us grace, to not give us what we deserve as a nation, judgment because we have killed the innocent and we have ignored Him. Let's ask God to give us mercy. Oh Lord, grant us thy mercy and deliver us from our own evil choices. May that be your prayer and my prayer in these days. And may we do our part as Christians and Americans to be sure to vote for those who stand on life, liberty, and law. Thank you very much for your